Education, in a broad sense, can be any experience that has a formative effect on the way one thinks, feels, and acts. Education is the formal process where society can transmit its accumulated knowledge, skills, customs, and values from one generation to another. Education is essential to sustain the development of societies, to reduce poverty and inequalities in a country. Although education is a high priority within the Haitian community, most schools in Haiti are in the private sector. With that being said, the obvious constraints that engulf the Haitian people make the possibility of attaining a proper education difficult among many things. Haiti Connection has not only implemented but provided several educational programs including Foncosé adult literacy programs, school sponsorships, and sewing centers.
One of the pieces when we started going to Haiti, one of the things we promised ourselves we were never going to do, we weren't going to do anything with education. We just saw it as, oh my God, how can we ever want to do anything with education? Because we saw it as such a huge problem in Haiti. I mean, parents really, really, really want their kids to be educated. They do. But the educational system, the formal national educational system in Haiti is just a mess. The current administration in Haiti hopefully is going to deal with some of this. But the reality is it's all privately funded. But most education is being done by the private sector. Churches are doing it. They're doing it and they're doing it well. But it costs money. Then they can't do it for free. It costs money. So we kind of told ourselves we're not going to get into education because we see it as, oh my God, once you get into that, what's going to happen? Well, maybe God had a different idea than that. We started by just what we thought when we first started going there, the biggest project we took on was, we're not going to get into education, but we'll help. So we built a kitchen and a cafeteria for kids at a school. The school had 1,500 kids. We took on a major project and we helped them do that, and we did that for them. That was so cool. And it really made all the difference for those kids, you know, that they had a place where they could, you know, a little dignity to eat their meal and stuff. And so it was really wonderful. That's where we started. And we thought that's going to be good. But when you know, when we started building a relationship with Barassa, and we start really, okay, if you're really serious about relationships, you're going to really want to listen to them. And again, they kept saying to us, will you help us with our school? Will you help us with our school? And we knew what that really meant. We look at sponsorship. And we had dabbled with sponsorship early on with an orphanage we were at, but we failed. It didn't work. But we thought, okay, we'll try this again. But this time around we realized maybe the problem was we tried to do it by ourselves. Maybe the problem was we really weren't wanting to be a partner with them. We were just going to do it. So we decided this time around, if we're going to do this, we're going to be a partner. We'll be a partner with the families, with the parents in Haiti, but we're also going to be a partner with our American friends back here in the United States. And that's what we did. We said, what does it cost to go to school? What's the tuition and fees? And that's how we began to approach it. And we said, okay, and we're only going to deal with preschool and primary. We knew that we could not take on high school. So we knew our own limitations. Okay. So we set those parameters, and we knew we only wanted to do it with our friends that we already had relationships with up in Barassa and Yati. Okay, so we did all those things, and what we did was we decided, okay, what is it going to cost for tuition and fees? $30 a year. That's what we're going to do. We still wanted the parents to have to show their side of it that they knew was important. So what are they going to do? They're going to provide the uniforms and the shoes for their kids to go to school. We would provide the tuition and the fees. They provide the uniform and the shoes for their kids to go. So that's what we did in this partnership. And it's worked. We have 330 kids hoping to get higher than that right now, currently sponsored, where we find sponsors here in the United States who will sponsor a child in Haiti. $30 a year becomes affordable for a lot of folks here, and it's doable for them, huh? But here's the thing. We decided back here what we were going to do and how we were going to see this was not just, hey, we need your money for our kid. We wanted to see it as a relationship. So Love Micah Sanogier is a face to poverty. It's no longer, oh yeah, you hear these statistics about poor kids in Haiti and around the world. No, now we know that Betty Smith has a child named Love Micah Sanogier, that she is committed to praying for every day, because she sees his picture every day wherever she chooses to put that photo, whether on the refrigerator or in a prayer corner or in their living room, wherever that might be, with their other family members. I don't care where they put it, that she's made a commitment to that child. And she's made a commitment, and that child has made a commitment back on the flip side to pray for her. It's just kind of cool. Now, will they ever meet? No, I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know what God has in store for people. But we do know this. She's put a face to poverty. We've begun to build relationships that go beyond just us and recognize it wasn't just supposed to be about us anyway. And we began to see what can happen. And we began to give access to education, sometimes very important to Haitian people, to our brothers and sisters in Haiti, to getting kids in education, to read and to write, to mathematics and science. And we've done that now. We've got 4 schools that we're being able to work with.
L'école là, li bon pour ti moun yo en pile parce que l'école presbytérale, li recevra ti moun qui plus méprisé yo. Plus diminué yo, ça veut dire ti moun qui pas capable payer l'école, c'est eux même nous prend dans l'école boy ici. Et nous avons commencé avec l'école, nous avons commencé avec une centaine de moun et aujourd'hui, grâce à Dieu, nous sommes capables de dire nous gagnons 339 élèves qui travaillent dans l'école là. Ça veut dire capable de gagner plus de monde, nous sommes capables de plus de monde toujours, mais manquer salle de classe. Parce que les classes qui étaient capables de faire 2, qui étaient capables de diviser en 2, mais manquer espace, manquer classe pour nous capables d'accueillir plus de monde. Après ça, si nous avons plus de classe, nous sommes capables de gagner à peu près de 500 personnes environ dans l'école presbytérale Pérou. Bon, son fierté pour nous parce qu'il y a plusieurs groupes d'élèves qui déjà passé le certificat déjà qui allaient et il y a ça déjà qui est en philo, je dis. Exemple, nous prenons exemple Adler, nous. Adler c'est fruit l'école là. C'est fruit l'école là. Ça veut dire, il est dans le collège Jean 23, on est là. Actuellement, il est dans la classe philo. Ça, c'est fruit l'école là. Alors, c'est un plaisir pour nous-mêmes qui professeurs, pour nous capables de travailler ensemble avec ces gens. Gagner tout, nous sommes capables de gagner une classe qui est dans l'église. Qui est dans l'église, ça veut dire pas d'espace. Qui est dans l'église. Et si nous avons aide, nous avons des gens qui sont pensé pour nous aider nous, peut-être nous sommes capables de gagner une autre classe encore. Pour nous capables de mettre classe 5e année qui a travaillé dans l'église. Parce que il y a des gens qui ont besoin de la prière, mais par rapport à la classe qui est dans l'église, ils ne sont pas capables de venir la prière. Parce qu'ils sont capables de perturber. L'éducation que les gens fait, non seulement l'éducation que les gens fait, ça veut dire l'éducation chrétienne fait tout. Par rapport à l'église là, ça veut dire dans l'école presbytérale, et non seulement ils connaissent un bagage sur la vie bon Dieu, qui pour permettre de une bonne conduite. Ouais, et c'est nous-mêmes tout qui préparé les gens pour venir président, pour venir ministre, pour venir député demain. Alors, c'est ça que fait, nous engager nous, en tant que professeurs, pour nous donner une bonne éducation pour demain.
And one of those schools now needs a new school. And so we're looking at that project and say, okay, how are we going to do this? And we challenged them a bit, saying it's got to be a school that's light and airy, that has natural light in it. They have some schools that are so dark and dingy. And they agreed. They go, okay, sure, yeah, you're right. And so we're working with a partnership with them on this school in Barassa. And one of the things that we realized, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect partnership. It's never going to be. But those steps lead us again and again to realize there's more we can do. And when you know it, because of that, we began to look at this camp in the summer for kids. Because what do they do in the summer? So in Fonibo, up in one of our places where we work, Fonibo up in Gros Morne, there was a camp called Camp Claudine. So now we've been sponsoring that camp for 8-9 years. What happens by just giving this monetary sponsorship? Before you know it, we've got students saying, well, can I work in the camp in the summer? So we've had Haiti Connection members from Eastern and from Quincy and from Benedictine who have gone down there and now been down there for 6 weeks and 8 weeks for a summer camp. And not only that, what happens from there? We've got students now who've gone down there as alums and lived in Haiti for a year or two. People who, because of this exposure to a little camp, because they allowed themselves to become open to that, they saw the importance and they've been down there and spent a year or two down in Haiti. And so it began to snowball. And that led us to wanting to help help more with Fonibo. So now we sponsor a teacher, an actual teacher in the schools in Fonibo who teaches there. We pay her salary for the whole year, and that's been really cool. And as these things begin to ripple out, we recognize that we really need to help these schools to become self-sustaining. Now that part we haven't figured out yet. We're thinking, okay, how can we do this? Well, one of the things we realize is that how come we're working with 4 schools and 3 of them have preschools? How come they're not working together? 2 are a preschool and 1's a preschool with a regular primary school. So we sat them down and said, how do you guys begin to work together? And it's working. The primary school said, well, we'll stop having a preschool. We don't need one if they've got it. And they weren't thinking about that, and they did it. And now kids are going from preschool to primary school. And it's beginning to build their own relationships and bonds. And what a gift that is. And I'm like, yes. So that's work. It's working. And where is it taking us to? Another place. It's taking us to another place. And we realize the digital divide. We realize that, oh my God, these kids are in some pretty tough situation. Could they ever be able to learn how to use a computer? Could they ever be able to get on the web and begin to realize the wealth of information that, and can it begin to help their communities? Could their farmers begin to build a co-op and realize, hey, our kids have learned how to get on the World Wide Web to sell our corn. And we don't have to worry about a middleman who pays us little or nothing. We now can band together and we can sell our corn on the market, the world market, ourselves. You begin to realize, oh my gosh, the possibilities. And so, sure enough, we're exploring that. We're exploring, and that's the beauty of a university. Our students are exploring, what can that look like? How can we make sure they have a computer lab in their schools? How can we make sure they have access to a reliable source of energy? And so we're exploring these possibilities with solar panels and batteries and laptop computers. And that's exciting. Talk about taking us in a whole way that we never would have thought possible. And it can happen in the mountains of Barassa. Oh my gosh, it can happen in the mountains of Barassa, these remote areas.
Yes, an adequate education is, I think, an imperative for engagement with the world today. One needs to be able to read, one needs to be able to write, one needs to be able to use a computer to have access to information. It's amazing in some regards the information that's available in developing countries through cell phones, which are used more than computers in many cases, but it does take an education to access information on the internet. It's for almost any job nowadays, it's an imperative to be able to read, to write, to think, to make decisions. And also, in terms of education, one tiny challenge Haiti faces is that Haiti speaks Haitian Creole, which I speak, but it's not a language of international business. I mean, if you're in Haiti, it's useful, but if you are doing business with the United States, you need to speak English. And of course, many Haitians do speak English, but it would be useful if even more spoke English. And French is a language of business, which is a second official language of Haiti, but not all the people speak French. So I spend time in Europe, and if you go to Luxembourg, everyone speaks 4 languages. I would be delighted if every Haitian spoke fluent Haitian Creole and fluent English and fluent French, but it's a few of the population as a whole speak those 3 languages, but that would be helpful.
And part of that education, we realize, as we're, especially with Espoir pour Demain and the other things we're doing, we realize that the women don't have it. A majority of women are illiterate up in the mountains. They just are. And so through our work with Foncose, as we opened up a branch office for microcredit lending for the alternative bank for the poor, we found out that women did not have access to reading and writing. And talk about how that can affect one's self-worth and dignity. And so Foncose realized a need, so they started adult literacy programs. And because we want to partner with them in that, we now, the last 3 years, have provided education modules for 200 women each year the last 3 years. We've provided them an opportunity to learn how to read and write. Not just that, to take modules on business. They all have little business on how to feed their families and how to care for their families. We provided modules on health care. So they build one on the other. And and this is exciting, and it takes us in a whole nother place, adult education. That's important and can happen. And our students have been excited about that. We've got to sit in on some of these Alpha Centers and realize, wow, what's possible when we allow ourselves to become conduits for grace. And it's just, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
We have come together to counter the cycle of poverty through educating the populace. According to Dr. Gene Strandberg, a former professor of the Eastern Illinois University School of Technology, people are the lifeblood of a republic, and their knowledge and skills are needed to provide continual growth in all phases of society. Education, both general and specific, is the key to every republic's continual climb in an ever-increasing competitive world. Continue with us as we discover how Foncose facilitates its educational programs in Haiti.
Now, there's a level of extreme poverty where even that capacity to dream goes away. And these women, what they do is really just live to eat from one day to another. They have no hopes, no dreams. That most of the time their kids are not in school and they send their kids out begging. These women are also socially very, very isolated because they don't believe in themselves anymore. They're indebted to all their neighbors. Most of them are afraid to even come out of the shacks where they live. Okay, for that level of extreme poverty, where people have actually lost hope, if you give them a loan, they will eat the loan today and be in the same situation tomorrow. That really doesn't work. And so, for that level of poverty, we have actually tried to replicate a program that was developed by BRAC in Bangladesh. And that program, we call it Chemin La Vie Meilleure. It's actually intensive follow-up. During 18 months, a case manager goes and visits these clients every week. And every week discusses with them, how are you doing? How are your kids? How can we improve the situation? They get training on how to better take care of their health and of their kids' health. And they get assets to start income generation activities. Cow, chickens, goats, a small inventory to start a small trade. You see? So over the weeks, as they get advice and support from these special case managers, they learn how to manage their business and how to develop it. And after 18 months, they end up with their kids in school, their house repairs has been done, they all have a latrine, they have a water filter, they have at least 3 income generation activities, and they have a bit of money on a savings account. And then they graduate into T-Crédit to learn how to use a little credit so that they can continue growing their income generation activities. Up till now, we have a graduation rate, meaning that about 95% of the women have all the graduation criteria after 18 months. Meaning they have 3 income generation activities, they have savings, they have their house repairs, etc., etc. Only about 80% actually takes out a credit. Most of them are afraid of credit. And so what they do is they continue coming to the meetings of the center, but they don't take out a loan. What they do is they do their little savings every 2 weeks. You see, which is perfectly okay. Some of them will come to credit later on, see that it's actually not a problem, others are doing it so they can do it too. Others feel it's not for them and they continue as they are, which is perfectly okay too. Now, what has been happening since the earthquake also is that, you know, in solidarity lending, there is a group of women who's doing so well that they outgrow the solidarity lending capacity. they need individual loans of more than $1,000. And so they graduate into what we call a business development program. These business development program women, they stay coming to the center meetings because they really miss that contact with other women who are in the same business than they are if they get out of it. But they have their individual loans and they repay their individual loans. And over the past year, we have more and more started building a portfolio of small and medium enterprises we are supporting. Again, through a mix of education and credit. And the reason why we've been doing that is that some people are born entrepreneurs and they will take a microcredit of 1,000 gold and 6 years later they need $1,000, you know, because they've grown their business and they have that savviness. You know, some people like me, what we need is a job. It's not, some people just don't have that capacity to manage money that way. And so we've been trying to see how we could help small and medium enterprises create more jobs for poor people too, as kind of second pathway out of poverty. First pathway being through microcredit, the second pathway being through job creation and helping poor people to jobs. You see. So, as you see, Fonkoze is like, the initial idea is still there. It's very much about helping poor people organize themselves and get out of poverty through financial tools and educational tools. But what we've learned is that poverty is not something that one size fits all. There's a myriad of different situations of poverty. And so we've had to adapt our programs as we discovered new ways of being poor and new needs for poor people too. And literacy is still as much a problem as ever, which is the reason why we need support of people like you, because to get one woman through a literacy training during 4 months, we need $25 US. I mean, it's one of the great things of working with Fonkoze is that it's a whole team of people and a whole idea about how we serve the poor in a way that empowers them also. It's not just about doing for them, it's giving them the tools so they can do for themselves.
And what we were so afraid to get into, so resistant to get into, has really opened up, both here on the state side, giving people an opportunity. Now, and I'm going to use this example because it was so beautiful. As horrible as the earthquake was for Haiti, and it happened now. We're well past the anniversary of that now, a couple of years, but as horrible as the earthquake was, one of the most beautiful things that happened was everybody who had sponsored a child in Haiti was calling me, was sending me emails, was stopping me in Charleston saying, have you heard anything about so-and-so, their child? They knew, they could call by name someone in Haiti. They could call by name, and so they were concerned about their friend, about their child. To me, that begins to just draw the lines that we recognize that we're all brothers and sisters. We really, really are. And so the thing that I feared the most of getting into, God had different plans, and what a good thing that was, huh? What a wonderful thing that was. Yeah. There's one more thing about education I should share. You know, we know we can't be all things to all people. We never have been able to. But a really neat thing has happened over time. Sometimes people just want to become a nurse, or they want to become a chauffeur, or they have a dream. They have a dream to become a doctor. They have a dream to become a teacher. And sometimes we'll be able to take these dreams back, bring them back with us, and ask them, just pray, and we'll see what happens. And we've been able to match those dreams, people here in the United States. Right now we have a young man who's just about finishing up nursing. He's going to become a practical nurse, a nurse practitioner, He's going to be a nurse practitioner in less than a year because of a group of people here who believed in him. and made it possible for him to become a nurse practitioner. Another woman is becoming a nurse, a miss. They call them a miss. She's going to be a nurse, and she's so excited that she's the pride of her community now. She's going to become a nurse. She has this last year of education. There's a guy who says to me, "You are our father." I said, "We're not your father." He goes, "No, you made it possible for me to become a chauffeur." He drives a camion now, a truck, a big truck. He's a chauffeur. And he's able to provide for his family now. Another guy, we got him a sewing machine. He's a tailor. He lost part of his foot, and he knew he'd never be able to do much in Haiti. It's tough. It's tough, especially if you have a disability. This guy, Jurel's his name. We found someone to buy him a sewing machine. And it's a Trendle sewing machine. It's just, he's got to use his other good foot to do it. He's now a tailor. He's providing for his whole family. He came up to me at a recent trip, and he came up and he says, "Roy, thank you for allowing God to work in you." And he didn't ask me for anything. He just thanked me. And he really was thanking the Haiti Connection. He was really thanking people here in the United States who made it possible for him, who believed enough to get him a $200 grant, if you will. Another guy came up to me and said, "Could you thank a couple guys that I met a few years ago? They got him a solar panel and a battery. And now he's got a little business. He charges cell phones. And he's got a business and he takes care of his family." He says, and it's so exciting, he's done such a good job that Digicel, a cell phone company in Haiti, is now going to make him like a Sprint office, like a Verizon office. He's going to have a little office in Fontferrat, and he's got a canopy. We saw it when we went down there. It's the only Digicel canopy in all of Fontferrat. And he's so excited. I said, "Have you sold any cell phones?" He goes, "No, but I'm the official Digicel office in Fontferrat." He's all excited about it. Doing small things with great love. Golly gee, what can happen? And what's possible? And so that's what's been made possible because of our small efforts with education. And that's been exciting. That part's been really exciting.
En dehors levé, Port-au-Prince levé. C'est ensemble pour nous mettre ensemble pour nous mettre un bon pays campé. Jeunes garçons levé, jeunes femmes levé. C'est ensemble pour nous mettre ensemble pour nous mettre un bon ami campé. La ville levé, Pétionville levé. Dégagez pour nous un commande d'aka mobilisé. Dégagez une planté, bon yo kabay manger. Sans cette que te fait papa m'sou nous y a compté. Parce que m'bouquet à division ça, m'bouquet à parler en pile. M'bouquet à ça, chèque l'eau fatra cap monter pile par pile. M'bouquet tant d'un cap fait un fois qu'on va régler men. M'bouquet qu'on y a fois qu'on vite à commencer. Faut nous rassembler, faut ne pas marcher, Guy, j'aimerais à faire là.